All right, welcome back to Wisdom Soup, you guys. We're going to have some fun tonight. Oh wait, you keep getting everybody in here. There we are. So I hope everybody's been doing well. You guys, I know I really look forward to our monthly Wisdom Soup meeting. It is so much fun. We get to explore these new topics together. I always learn new things when we do this together, and I feel like it's such a great time to stretch ourselves and to explore. And that's the cool thing about spirituality is for me, I always feel like there's always more to learn. I've never gotten to the point where I feel like I know everything, because we would be merged with source if that was the case. So we all have more to learn. And here is a great place where we can come together and just expose ourselves to new ideas and new thinkers. And it's super fun. All right. So for those of you who are new to Wisdom Soup, and for those of you who have been coming forever, I'm so glad to see you again. Thank you for coming back. For those of you who are new, I should tell you what we are all about. We have been meeting for, oh my gosh, I think it has been about 5 years now. And I started Wisdom Soup. I started it as an in-person meetup here in Bellevue because I was falling out of resonance with everybody. I was like, who are my friends and who can I talk with about this stuff? So I rented a theater in downtown Bellevue, and I just put a meetup up, and I had no idea if anybody was going to show up. I was the first sacrificial lamb, so I was the first speaker, and I had no idea. Like I said, it was going to be just me and myself, or we'll just see what happens. And luckily, about 25 people came. So right from the beginning, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one out there who's interested in this stuff and who wants to talk about it. And we've been going strong ever since. And when COVID hit, we started coming online. And before that, actually, we had started doing some combination, which was phenomenal because we were able to bring in people from all over the place. So now our community has really, really grown. If you've ever looked at the meetup, I think it's at 1,400 people on the meetup now, which is big for a meetup. That's a big meetup. But it's really cool. And the neat thing is, if you come, you will see similar faces. So I see a lot of the people who are with us today are people who have been with us for and been coming, once when they're in town, they come, or when they can, they come. It's wonderful. It's really wonderful to start forming these connections. So today's speaker is someone who is near and dear to my heart, is Michael Sheridan. He has been a speaker with Wisdom Soup before, mostly because when I first started Wisdom Soup, I knew of Michael from hearing him on the radio. And I was totally enamored with his work. And I really, really wanted him to come and speak at my brand new meetup. So I stalked him. And I called and I asked him if he would join me I had invited him and his wife, Sandy, who's, if you don't know Sandy, she's phenomenal. Invited them both to lunch, and he agreed to come and then came to be a speaker. And I was so excited, mostly because I wanted him to do my dreams. And that's a whole nother story, because I thought my dreams were going to be so deep and profound that all the symbolism was going to be so cool. And every single one was about my poop. So like every one. So I have since stopped eating cheese and everything is better. But
now, in fairness, your dreams did get fantastic.
They did. Thank you so much. They did over time. And but from that point, literally for the last 5 years, I have been using dreams according to Michael's method to help me on my journey enormously. They are the method by which I track what's going on with me and how I know what I'm healing, what I've healed. It's a constant measure that I'm taking of my own progress. And I use it with all my clients too. So when Michael is coming up with a new take on his method, I'm going to be the first one in line to have him come and speak to our group. And he's got something new, a brand new presentation to share with us today. It is specifically about your dreams and how they talk to you about your relationships. And he's going to be sharing with us the symbolism. I'm sure he's going to say a lot of self-deprecating remarks about how this is the first time he's done it. And Michael is brilliant. It's going to be awesome. So with that, I will introduce him. Michael Sheridan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Anne. That's a great intro. And this is the first time I did this. And I got, how many days notice did you give me? About 9. I was talking to Anne, and so Holly, April, and I were and Sandy, we're the Ashling School team. We were talking about what we're going to do in our October event that's coming up. We have a big 3-day event that's free. And we wanted to do something on relationships. It was put on the agenda by something else, but we decided to do something on relationships. And I was saying it to Anne just in passing, casually. And then she said, right, you're booked. And so it was like, okay, now I've got to create a presentation. So I've spent the last 2 days. So even though April and Holly know everything that's going to be in this, they've never seen it either. And so I have no idea how long it is or how good it is or how bad it is or whatever. So hopefully it flows. I've plagiarized other parts of our October event to try add context. And I think that's it. With that, we will just go into it. And I'm sure it's not going to be what you expect. So if you've come here saying, woohoo, I'm going to discover all the reasons I have issues in my relationship. Well, if you come for that, then yes, your dreams will help you. But if you come along saying, I want to find Mr. Right, then stay tuned to see what you're really going to find. So let me share my screen and make sure that works. So can everybody see that? Okay. All right. So I can't see the chat. Anne's going to moderate the chat. So if you have questions at any point, feel free to drop them in there. But here we go. Using dreams to find your ideal partner. Now, I know, Anne, you gave it a little different name, cracking the code of your dream relationship, because Anne's a copywriter, I'm not. So first time through the mill with this. Who am I, for those of you who don't know? And I do see a lot of familiar faces, so I'll be fast. Well, of course, my name is Michael Sheridan. I am the co-founder of Ashling School. It's pronounced Ashling because I was in Ireland when I came up with the ingenious name. And over here, people don't know how to pronounce that. So it really wouldn't have been what I did. There is a few of us on the team, Holly, Sandy, and April. So 4 of us, we really are the core team. And we come up with all the ideas and put on all the events and so on and so on. So if you do our October event, you'll see all 3 of us. What about me? This is what I always say to people. I help spiritual seekers who are struggling to discover their gifts and life purpose. And using as little as one dream, I put them in touch with the life they intended to live. Now you're saying, what on earth has that got to do with relationships? I know you're saying that to yourself, but if you bear with me, it'll make sense. I will come back and I will revise this. But I've been doing this now for over 30 years. So I've gotten good at what I do. At least I hope I do. What else do I do? I host a radio show in Seattle on KKNW, and it's been running for 8 years, which is great. I can't believe it's running that long, but there you go. I've written 2 books. One about how to interpret your dreams, and then one that is just about me, and really tongue-in-cheek title. But again, you're saying, that's great, Michael. Could you just talk about the relationships? Okay, we will. But let's look at the start. Let's start with some very common dreams, because you going to want to know, how do dreams tell you anything about relationships? So we look at common ones, 2 at least. Your partner dying. Has anybody ever had that dream? I realize I can only see about 5 of you in the lineup. No, this is April. All right. It is a common dream. And when people come to me with this one, they're really distraught because they've had a dream about the partner dying, and they wake up with that horrible sense. And what it is about is, it means you've gone from that stage of, it's a casual relationship, to this is the one I want to be with for the rest of my life. And it shows up in the dream because this is now when you cross that threshold and say to yourself, I don't want to lose this person. And the fear of losing the person then shows up as them dying in your dream. So why am I telling you? It's no biggie to you. You already know if you have made that commitment to somebody you're with. But what if you're trying to get into a relationship and your partner tells you this dream? Well, that's really good, because then you know that they're smitten with you. So that's a common one. Another common one, extremely common one, is to dream about your ex. And why would you do that? Several reasons. You can dream about an ex that was horrible in some way, or a relationship that ended badly. And that dream is telling you that you are carrying part of that relationship into your current one. And a lot of people do this, and it kind of makes sense. You've gotten burned badly, your partner cheated on you, or whatever it happens to be, and you don't trust your new partner because you're kind of saying to yourself, I'm going to wait and let him prove himself to me or her prove herself to me. And so you're holding back from the relationship, waiting for the other person to fully commit. And that's just crazy. And dreams will show you that you're doing that, because if you want to get the most out of your relationship, you have to put the most into it. You have to put yourself into it. But the dreams will be specific. They will show you why that ex, whatever it is. Sometimes it will be an ex that you still think fondly of. And that dream is even better because it's saying, look, bring that into this relationship. But in that case, the dream is usually that you're saying to yourself, I'm never going to find another person like Randy. That's just never going to happen. And you're letting that run through your mind all the time. And the dream is saying, look, you need to stop that. That's crazy. What else have we got? Really easy one. If you dream you're in a car, say in a dead end, on a dead end street with your partner and the car's parked, well, that's telling you where your relationship is. Now, doesn't mean the relationship is over, not necessarily, but it means you got to do something to move the relationship. Take it out of that dead end street it's in and start going other directions. Or maybe you do leave the relationship. But dreams are going to be brutally honest, like they always are. They don't hold any punches. They're going to tell you what you're doing and let you deduce what you need to fix. So again, remember, drop questions in the chat if you have them. So what do your relationship dreams reveal? And I'll tell you how to tell what they are, what dreams are relationship dreams later on. But basically, relationship dreams reveal your selection process for a partner. That's the most crucial thing that you could ever find out about yourself. What makes you pick who you pick? Because a lot of people go through a phase of, I'm with a bad person, I realize they're bad, they cheat, I'm going to end this relationship and I'm going to go find someone else. They find someone else, put in all the work, do everything they can to plan to make sure they don't end up with somebody like that again, and they end up exactly with somebody like that again. So your dreams show you why that happens, because they show your selection process. They show you when you go from casual to this is who I want to be with. Now, again, you already know that, but it's cool to see it in your dreams. They show whether a past bad relationship is affecting your current one. They show you when your relationship is going nowhere or it's at a dead end. Now, I talked a little bit about some of those. And then they will also show you when you need to leave your relationship. And that one's a surprise to some people. And that's regardless of marital status. Dreams don't care about monogamy or anything like that, but they do care about being faithful and trustworthy and all that sort of stuff. But marriage, as far as the spirit world is concerned, relationships are only good for as long as they allow you spiritual growth. If you get to a point where they don't allow spiritual growth, then it's time to get out of that relationship or change something in it, change a dynamic in it that allows you to grow again. Okay. Relationship dreams are the easiest to recognize because the most common relationship dream is a dream with your partner. Now, having said that, you don't want to have that dream, because when your partner shows up in your dream, it's going to be about a problem. Maybe a problem on your side or their side. Well, it's always your side. Your dreams are going to tell you how you need to grow, how you need to change. Now, there are exceptions. Some people, very few, but I do know a handful or less than a handful, who have dreams about partners who are always positive in their dreams. And in that case, it's typically that the relationship is so strong that that partner is strong enough to allow the person work on something deep and disturbing. But it's not common. It's safer to say, if you ever see your partner in your dream, you know it's about your relationship, but it's telling you something you need to fix. Now, you probably came here wanting your dreams to show you how to get to this point, how to get to a proposal or whatever. But your dreams do not show you how to get what you want, at least not directly. They do show, but not directly. They don't even show you how to get here. But what they do show is why you end up with the wrong person. And that may seem like, okay, what good is that to me? But like I said, they show your selection process. They show all the filters that go into your selection process. So fix those filters, and then you won't end up there. So the way to look at your dreams is they are the map away from ending up with the wrong person. And they're not just a map, they're the only map. No matter what way you go through fixing your relationship issues, it's always going to match what your dreams say, whether you do it through dream work or not. If you don't do what your dreams say, your selection process is the same as it always was, and you're going to end up with the same person. So they indirectly tell you how to get the partner you want because they show you why you get what you got. And when you know why you end up there, where you are, you know what you need to do to fix that so that you don't end up there again. Essentially, Mr. Right moves out of your blind spot. So you can now see Mr. Right and Mr. Wrong moves into it. Not totally true, but first part was. So question, so someone else is going to have a look at this. Do your thoughts create your reality? Do you agree with that statement that your thoughts create your reality? Can you give a thumbs up or just type yes in the chat, something like that? And like I said, I can only see 5 people. So Anne, what is the consensus? And you'll have to unmute.
There.
You're still muted.
Okay. Yes, we get some people, we get yes and no. Give me a thumbs up, you guys. I can see more of you. So thumbs up if we got several thumbs coming up. I think we got, yeah, thumbs, many thumbs.
All right. Now I
a couple no's.
Yeah. Well, you're wrong.
And we do have one question that came in, by the way. So when you're ready for it.
I'm joking, of course, you're not. But to understand how your thoughts are part of what does create your reality. There are things that happen in your reality that have nothing to do with your thoughts and your thinking, because it's all part of why you're here and what you need, what you've agreed on beforehand. All that stuff is going to come to you, all the karma that you're meant to get, etc., etc. But in essence, the strongest creator of your reality is your thoughts. So if that is true, if the consensus seems to be that, which wins a tug of war, your conscious mind or your subconscious mind? So you're going to have to type on that one, conscious or subconscious. What are we getting, Anne? It's just whatever way my screen shares, I can't see. I can only see a few people. You're muted, Anne.
Yeah, everybody's saying subconscious. It's a consensus.
Okay, good. So we're good on that one. So basically, this is true. Basically, what you're saying is if your thoughts create your reality, your subconscious thoughts win. And to realize that is a huge moment where you're giving yourself back your power, because otherwise you're saying it's chance that I'm ending up with who I'm ending up with. But we are in control. We can change things about ourselves that will change who we end up with as a partner. So your thoughts do create your reality. Your subconscious mind never sleeps, doesn't have to. What your subconscious mind believes is what you believe, regardless of what else you think. You could say things on the surface that this is what I actually believe. But if your subconscious believes otherwise, and that's part of you, even if it's buried, that is what you believe. And it believes what it was programmed to believe 24/7. So think about it this way. If you are trying to bring something into your reality and you meditate on it for a while and try project that this is going to come, this is going to come, this is going to come, and you do that for a whole hour, that would be a massively long meditation. You do it for an hour, your subconscious is doing it for 24. So you're never going to win. Not never, that's not fair to say. You can, but it takes time to chip away at the subconscious and change it. So without doing anything, the way to look at it is your subconscious is working 24/7, not against you. It thinks it's protecting you. But your subconscious mind was programmed in childhood. We will get into that in a minute, long before your logical mind was ever developed. And conscious thinking barely makes a dent on outcomes. That's just how it is. But that looks like it's spelled wrong, but I don't think it is. So you're probably going, hang on a sec. If that's the case, then why are we even here? There's nothing we can do. I shouldn't even listen to what you're talking about. But we can do something. Therapy deprograms the subconscious. That's what most therapies do. So when you remove your conditioning, your subconscious mind does not work against you. And so then when you meditate on something, trying to bring something into reality for you, it will come, and it'll come fast because there's nothing blocking it for you. And of course, if you meditate on something you want in your reality where there already isn't a counter program in your subconscious mind, that will work. So in case you're wondering why does sometimes it work and why the other times it doesn't, it depends on what's there. So to put it another way, your limiting beliefs are gone when you do a therapy. So they're not limiting your reality anymore. And we're going to talk a lot about that because this is really how you end up with who you end up with.
There's
So-
one question that might just so people know as you're explaining this, the filter is they're wondering if these rules apply to long-term friendships as well as romantic relationships.
Yeah, it's everybody really, but it depends on, so if you think about it, and I'll cover this in a bit, your partner enjoys a special place, and that's similar to somebody else in your life. But we'll cover that. But obviously, you're going to attract the type of person, and I end the presentation answering that point. But yeah, it does affect everybody that you attract to a big degree. Not fully, that's why we're here on the earth plane. We can be around people of all different levels. I can have a lot of dysfunctions and issues, and I can end up getting help from somebody who has already dealt with all those issues, and I can grow because of it. So it's not a total limitation, but it's when you're trying to create it. Now, your guides create a lot of it, especially the help, but when you're trying to create it, your limiting belief impacts you. So anyway, you get what you believe is possible. It doesn't matter what you aim for. You get what you believe is possible. What you believe is possible is based on what you experienced as a child. And what you experienced as a child is directly related to what you were here to heal. Now, we could spend 2 days talking about this slide. We're not going to. I'm just putting it in there for people who are clued in and know what I'm talking about. But I will talk a little bit about it, some of the stuff. So mom and dad set you up. How mom and dad treat you in childhood is vital, especially when you're born. This is when you decide if the trip to the earth plane was worth it. Is this a loving world or not? Well, that all hinges on mom. Am I on my own? Does anyone have my back? That all hinges on dad. And these relationships establish your philosophy of life. And you will believe this about the world for the rest of your life, or until you do some sort of therapy that changes, helps you to change the conditioning that you picked up from your parents. Is this okay?
Yes.
Right. I wish I could see faces. Your first 20 minutes are crucial. The title's bad. The problem is that the trigger was so long ago that your logical brain wasn't even developed. We don't really even have any semblance of a logical brain till around age 7. And our brain doesn't stop developing until we're 25. That's the brain most of us are walking around with. And we think about our childhood issues and so on with that brain, but that isn't the brain we had when we picked up the issues. So didn't even have that logical brain. And so you have no conscious memory of it because you had no conscious mind to store these events in. So it's buried deep within your subconscious mind. And it's what's controlling who you get. That's the point. This part's also important. As a child, you meditate and absorb your world. A child's brain cycles per second match their age generally. So when we're meditating, we're aiming for like 10 cycles per second. That's the midpoint of what's called the alpha state. And if you get into that state and you meditate a lot, you know what that feels like. It's really cool. Your mind's very clear. You don't have cluttered thoughts going around. You're out of the beta state into this lovely meditative state. But a child's in a deeper meditative state than that. So at age 1, their brain cycles per second is 1, 2, it's 2, 3, it's 3, all the way up. So it's like they're in the deepest meditative state that you possibly are never getting into it at all, but you've been there when you were a child. So children are effectively in that, and they have no logical filter because their mind isn't developed. Their conscious logical mind isn't developed, and they believe what they're told, whether that is Santa brings presents, the tooth fairy puts money under your pillow. No question about it. They just take it, and you are in the way. Whatever you're told, do you see what I did there? That's a curveball. Did you see it coming? Because if you didn't see it coming as a child either. Whatever you were told, and it doesn't have to be verbal, whatever you're told, it becomes part of your philosophy of life. So how dad treats you affects lots of things, which I'm going to get into, and how mom treats you affects lots of things. And I'm going to list them. I'm picking on men a lot because I know your audience is mostly women, and so but
we got a couple guys here they're protesting.
You can flip it. You can flip it. It's exactly the same. Nobody escapes. Your first male relationship is with dad. He's the most important man in your life. Now, as a child, he is, whether you believe that now or not. We're not talking about how dad is now or anything that happened to you. We're talking about back in childhood, he's the most important man in your life. You want to be with him 24/7. You want to be in his arms. You want him to hold your hand. That makes the world safe for you. You want to be the most important person in his world. And for you to be just the way you are, you want him to love you just as you are. When he comes home from work, if he's a worker, then you better be the first person he goes to. You want to support in everything you do, and you expect and need him to have your back. Now, do you notice anything about this list? This is exactly what you want from a partner. The only thing that's missing is that there's no sexual relationship in it, but that part of you isn't switched on in childhood. So everything else matches. And I have notes that I'm not even looking at, so I hope this is going okay. Your relationship with dad establishes your paradigm view for the most important man in your life. And in childhood, it's dad. Later, it's your partner. It sets a belief system based entirely on your reality that gets locked into your subconscious. It determines the balance of your own masculine energy, and it sets the bar for future male relationships. And it determines your comfort level around men and establishes how confident you are at being yourself around men. That's what your relationship with dad is meant to do. And if you have a good relationship with dad, you end up with masculine energy and balance. So if you get support from dad, you believe in yourself. These are all masculine energy traits. You feel confident and secure. You're okay in the spotlight. You feel supported, like life has your back. You give yourself permission. You don't need it from others. You don't have to ask people, hey, is it okay if I do this? You're okay taking the lead. You like challenges. You're okay taking risks. You're okay taking risks because if it goes badly, you're okay. You don't need to control things because you feel secure in yourself. And if the shit hits the fan, you don't panic because it'll probably be a fun ride anyway. This is how you are if your masculine energy is balanced. Now, most of us, that won't be how we were, at least when we were younger. Masculine energy imbalanced. If you end up where you don't feel secure, but you don't know what the issue is, you don't know that the hole that you're trying to fix or need to fix is on the inside of you. You think it's in the world around you. We always do. That's one of the big mistakes we make in life. Like, we're used to threats coming from to us from the outside. Like, even if it's just from evolution, you know, you hear a twig snapping in the woods and you need to find out, is this something coming to eat me or is it a friend walking behind me? And so we're programmed to look around us for the source and solution of our problems. Anyway, we always think the problem's outside of us. So we end up trying to control things for your safety. You're not going to feel safe until you control them. I try to control situations, events, and relationships. I blow up if my environment isn't perfect because that affects my sense of security. Ultimately, I'm angry at dad for not being there, but it's subconscious. That is subconscious. Maybe I am aware of it. Most people would be, but we don't realize how much it's controlling the rest of our life. I can become an overachiever or a perfectionist, a workaholic. The reason I do that is because I want to get attention that I never got from dad in childhood. And I might have difficulty saying no. So I end up becoming a people pleaser because that gives me the attention that I'm looking for, the attention I never got. Now, I'm not going to go into some of the other stuff, but just to balance it, I'm going to say what feminine energy, imbalance, and balance is. So imbalance is you don't feel loved. And this, again, it's all because of the impact of mom. If mom loved you unconditionally, like just loved you regardless of anything else, and most moms don't know how to do that.
Could you go back one more time, Michael, and repeat? If somebody's asking if you could repeat the theme of dad and how we act with masculine energy. Could you go back and just do the masculine energy one more time since we're right there? Just quickly run through the list of how we act if we have positive masculine energy.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that possible?
It is. I don't know if you can see me going back one step at a time. Come on, here we go. This one.
Yes, if you could just.
So screen grab that if you want.
Yeah, maybe Julie, if you want to just take a screenshot.
So this is the imbalance.
Oh, I think she wanted the yes, but what is it if you are balanced?
Well, it's recorded. You'll see it in the recording.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go over.
Yeah. So, okay. So keep on.
So we can go back to it at the end. Is that okay?
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
So feminine energy imbalance. I don't feel loved. I don't feel invited or welcome, even among friends. I walk on eggshells to avoid offending and I don't want to get rejected basically from the group. So I'm very careful about everything I do, everything I say. I usually think about 20 things and maybe say one. So I really hold myself back. I don't enjoy life, but nobody really knows that about me. And I feel invisible. I hide my true feelings. Again, most people are unaware that I hide my feelings, because if somebody says, how are you feeling, Michael, I'll say, oh, I feel good. Everything's good. And that's part of how I hide them, by not telling you I feel crap. I pretend to be happy, and I help at parties, for instance, rather than just enjoy myself. I don't know how to enjoy myself. That's a typical one. I do people's housework when I visit. Why? Because then they'll have no reason to kick me out. They'll be happy to see me, because I don't really understand this whole idea that somebody could just be happy to see me. So I have to give them a reason to be happy to see me. And again, that shows my level of discomfort. I'm very aware of people's feelings, and I try to help them avoid feeling my pain. For instance, feeling neglected. If you see somebody show up at a party that isn't even yours and nobody greets them, you will go greet them, because you can feel how horrible that would be to walk in and just feel like an oddball. And so you'll make them feel welcome at the party. In fact, this is true for all of us. Whatever we try help somebody else avoid points directly to the pain, the trauma we suffered, the pain we suffered. We always want to help other people avoid the pain we suffered, except ourselves. We rarely look and go, do you know what? Maybe I suffered that, and maybe that's why that really grates. Anyway, what else have we got? I'm always in my head analyzing this situation, because that was the safe place for me in childhood. Always thinking, never really in the heart, never really down in my emotions, allowing my emotions through. So I don't really enjoy life. It's all an intellectual game for me, but I'm a good chameleon. I can hide. Now, feminine energy, when it's in balance, if I got unconditional love from mom, I feel alive and loved. I accept people as they are. I don't feel the need to fix them. And this is a huge thing. If somebody, for instance, was to criticize me, and this might even be on my list, it won't bother me, because I know that's saying something about them. I'm okay in myself. And so I'm good. I forgive easily, and I don't take offense. I easily separate other people's issues from my own. That's what I was saying there. So if I'm helping somebody and they call me names, or even if I'm not and they call me names, that's okay. It's revealing their pain. It's a defensive mechanism they have. And I know that. I know it's not about me. But most of us are not there. If somebody offends us, we want to go for the jugular. I'm compassionate. I truly care about others, and I help when fully when asked. I don't hold back. I follow my intuition. I let people be where they need to be, or who they need to be, without judgment. So that's feminine energy. Masculine and feminine energy, they have completely different traits. They don't really mix. We use them like a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, but we don't blend them together. We use them in distinctive ways. That's really the difference between the energies. All right. So is this making sense? I hope it is.
Absolutely. Dominique says that those statements would work great as affirmations, which is a cool idea.
Oh, yeah, that's a good, yeah. Okay. So, I actually had that on the slide, that therapy deprograms the subconscious. Affirmations reprogram it. Ideally, though, you'll do a therapy to clear it, and then you can give yourself the affirmations. But affirmations do work. That's why we have to do them for a little while, because then we start believing it. Okay. So let's have a look at a dream. And I used this dream on Monday's show, but I'm not going to go into the same detail. I'll read it first, and then we'll go over it. And this is from Vivian. She says, I was in a beautiful hotel, and I was with a male. I don't know who he is. All of a sudden, the building next to us collapsed, and then our building also collapsed straight down, as if it was an elevator, but it stopped. That should be stopped midway. It stopped at the point where I can see sliding doors. I slid them open to get out. I walked out of the side to the sidewalk, and so did the man, but then he completely vanished. There was chaos everywhere. As I was walking, not running like everyone else, I was kind of observing. There were two men there together, and one stopped and insisted that he wanted to help me. His friend wanted to continue, so he decided to depart from his friend and kept insisting that he wanted to protect me. I became nervous and really didn't want his help, because I didn't feel endangered until he kept insisting that he wanted to protect me. Then I kept feeling that what I needed was protection from him. I used my wits to get away from him and spent the rest of the night observing all this chaos and dipping and dodging throughout the city, making sure that he was not going to find me. as I watched him, asking people if they have seen me. So that's the whole dream. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Vivian's life story. But her life story demonstrates exactly how a child reacts when dad isn't there. She doesn't blame dad. In fact, she states repeatedly that her first love was for her father, that he was the one that nurtured her. Now, you and I know that clearly he can't do that when he chooses to be absent. So I've skipped a bit that I didn't have in my notes. But do I have it here? I have to have it here. So I'll just say it. When her mom would get pregnant, dad would disappear and he wouldn't be back until after the baby was born. I don't know how far after. And the story was, well, he just couldn't cope with it. So he would just go. And so what I'm saying here is, well, first of all, he's a jerk. But the second part is she says he is the one that nurtured her. And so clearly he can't do that if he chooses to be absent. And Vivian knows this too. She's a smart person. But it's not her adult mind that we're grappling with when a parent impacts us so devastatingly. The trauma of his absence is real, but he is still the one she wants to turn to. And that's always true for every person. They want to go back to the father to fix the problem, or mom, if mom is the person. His part in causing the trauma, indeed, the trauma itself, is often moved into our blind spot because as a child, there is nothing we can do about it. It is so painful that we often just pretend it didn't happen. It gets parked in our mind to be dealt with later. And so for her, that time is now. When we dream of issues, now is always the time. So like I said, in the course of the discussion, I discovered that her dad would leave whenever mom got pregnant. On top of that, her sister was born 11 months after her. So putting that together, it means he disappeared for a lot of the first year of her life. And, if you feel your blood's boiling, that's just because you're normal. But she never got there. And I guarantee you that that's not how, that she would never be mad at dad. In childhood, she would never be mad at dad because his behavior would have trained her to expect exactly more of that behavior from him because it is who he is. But here's the worst part. His behavior sets a low bar on what she can expect from men. In fact, it's such a low bar. It's the type of man she's going to attract into her life. She can only attract men like dad because that is the man. Dad is the man she loves. She really loves dad. And so many years later, when she's looking for love, that's the type of man she will find. And so when I was talking to her more, and she was saying that she kept talking about her son. I didn't know how old he was or anything. Turns out he's 38. So this is all way, way in the past. But I said, okay, what was your partner like when you were pregnant? And she said, he left me when I was 6 months pregnant and he never came back. And I said, can you see how that is dad? That's exactly dad, because your dad left your mom anytime she would get pregnant. And so it doesn't matter who you are. You don't dodge this bullet. Whatever way you're treated in childhood by mom and by dad impacts your life and impacts your belief system, your paradigm view of the world. And that's going to directly impact what you're able to create in your own reality. So let's have a look at what this dream means. Just the first part. I was in a beautiful hotel and I was with a male. So this straight away tells us the issue for her is on the masculine energy side. I don't know who he is, so she doesn't know her masculine energy. We would expect when looking at more of her dreams and talking to her that she lacks the positive traits. She has the masculine imbalance, let's say. She has the whole bingo sheet of that. All of a sudden, the building next to us collapses, and then our building also collapses straight down. So the support failed in the buildings. So the support failed for her. That's the support. That's masculine energy. It stopped at the point where we can see sliding doors. I get out. I walked out onto the sidewalk. I'm skipping bits. I can tell you what they mean if you want. I walked out onto the sidewalk and so did the man, but then he completely vanished. So when we leave a building in a dream, that is symbolic of our birth, us entering the physical world, leaving mom's body and into the physical world. And so dad wasn't around. And so dad not being around is the thing. So I asked her this before she ever told me anything. Where was dad? And she told me what had happened. And so we see her dreams all these years later, because it's a recent dream, telling her what the issue is. She says there was chaos everywhere, and she has all these dreams all the time. There's chaos outside all the time. And that's a masculine energy thing where there's all this chaos and you're trying to stay protected from it. As I was walking, not running like everyone else. So even in the dream, she's kind of like, no, it's all good. I'm good. Everyone else is panicked. My world's fine. That's never true. I was kind of observing that there were two men together and one stopped. And so here we have a kind of a dichotomy. She has one guy who leaves, that's dad. And then we have a man who she's afraid of. So because dad leaves, she ends up with this poor relationship with her own masculine side. And she doesn't allow, she's inhibited the flow, let's say, or her connection to her own masculine side. And that's what we see in this dream. And because she's inhibited this, wants to keep it at a distance, she's not going to feel safe in the world. In summary, that's what this part of the dream means. But it says it very, very clearly that she feels she needs protection from her own masculine energy. Now, that's crazy because that's where our sense of feeling safe and secure in the world comes from. Balanced masculine energy gives us that. And then just the last bit, I used my wits to get away from him and spent the rest of the night observing all this chaos and dipping and dodging throughout the city, making sure he was not going to find me. Again, this is her keeping her own masculine energy at a distance. And as I watched him asking people if they have, he's asking people if they've seen me. So again, she keeps her masculine energy at a distance. And so therefore is going to attract men that she also pushes away. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because obviously I haven't set this up. But we see in the dream her core issue, her core wound, dad not being present, and then going through life not feeling safe. And you can listen to the show because she talks on the show. It's not just me analyzing the dream. She's gone through life completely not feeling safe, and always attracts men that they're never there for her. And she even says, she really does have the whole sheet of all the imbalanced masculine energy. She tries to control the relationships at the start. She said initially she pushes them away. We see that in the stream. But then when she decides, okay, she tries to control everything, what they can do, what they can say, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that doesn't work. But again, that's her defensive mechanism for the fact that she feels the world isn't safe. What she needs to do is heal the trauma around dad, because that's what's controlling who she's getting as a partner. And I said, dreams will show you your selection process. This is what this dream is doing. This is why you pick the men you pick. You're going to pick the men who don't stick around, or the men that you want to keep at a distance. And fix that by healing the issue around dad, whatever way you do it. You know, there's millions of ways to work on your issues. But once you do that, then you can't attract that type of person anymore. All right, so let's move on. You internalize your reality. As a child, put downs don't need to be verbal. Actions and lack of action both count. Not getting unconditional love from mom is massive. Even though it's not necessarily said, but not getting it is going to give you issues with your feminine energy. Being left to cry, not getting support from dad. These are all going to impact you. You believe it is your fault. That's the worst part when you realize this is true, that a child believes it's their fault they're not getting the love. It's their fault that dad isn't around. It's all their fault. And they think, you know, if I was worthy of love or support, I wouldn't be treated this way. So it's my fault. There's something wrong with me. And remember, a child has no ability to reason. So they can't go, wait, let me think about this for a second. That's impossible. They can't do that. So they just accept the world as it is and then make up the reason why it is that it is. That why they're experiencing it, but it's always they blame themselves. They never don't blame themselves. And I could say what they do for there, but anyway, how you are treated then sets your paradigm view of the world, just completely based on your childhood. The link between masculine and feminine energy, the impact of your reception at birth is planned. It may seem like I'm just reading these, but I wrote them to flow, so hopefully it all makes sense. It's not just that, hey, dad is this way or mom is this way, and then I have to suffer the consequences of that. It's all planned. Your energy was already out of balance in the spirit world, and you came here to fix that. And mom's reaction impacts your feminine energy. Dad's reaction impacts your masculine energy. And then on the earth plane, your energy flow now matches how you are in the spirit world. And that's the point. That's why you're here, to heal that imbalance. And you can't heal the imbalance unless you transfer the imbalance to here. So it either matches it or it matches the aspect you came here to heal. So it doesn't have to be the whole thing. And your newly installed belief system is what will create the reality you need. So you will attract all the people and partners that are going to prove to you that the world is this way, but it's all done so that you can say, this sucks. I think I need to do something about this. And you'll eventually do some healing. And then your reality changes because your belief system has changed. Well, your flow of masculine and energy, feminine energy changes. It's ultimately all about that. And then with beautiful, unmistakable obstacles that match your imbalance, your reality is created. Overcoming the obstacles is your path to balance both here and in the spirit world. So once you fix it here, you fix it in all planes. So that's why we're here. And overcoming them requires healing the trauma that creates your reality. It's almost safe to say we all have a trauma that needs healing. We just don't think it's a trauma because we think, hey, I'm good. I survived it. So overcoming the obstacle is your path to balancing your energy. The obstacles don't hold you back from anything. They're indeed part of your life purpose. So dealing with that obstacle, dealing with the crap, getting to the point where you no longer have it in your life, that's why it's there. They give material focus to a spiritual issue that you came here to solve. And overcome the obstacles, I have said that. So I've plagiarized some slides. Your parent was carefully selected so you got conditioned just how you needed. Their role was absolutely vital. And then your parent plays a second part. They become the focal point to enable you to heal your issues. So in whatever therapy you do, your parent can be the one that you focus your healing around, because that's also vital to have a focal point. But really what you got to realize is you had this issue before you ever arrived on the planet and before your parent was ever your parent. So this is all done on purpose, an illusion to help you work on something that you found you were incapable of working on in the spirit world. Does it mean, oh, love your parent because that's okay? So symbols that indicate relationship dreams, and I don't have many here. Your partner, we've seen, your ex, another partner, couples, pairs of items that need to be matched, like shoes or socks. I think I say that, shoes or socks. The number 2, because there's 2 people in a relationship. A toe hitch, that would typically be about getting married. The color orange, yeah, that's going to be about intimacy in a relationship. A lost dog, hopefully in your dream, the lost dog is being returned. But usually what we see in people's dreams, we'll see a birth symbol, we see the dog drowning or getting lost at the start of their life. And then later on, when they work on themselves, we see the dog coming back. That's also going to be about intimacy. And then almost any dream. You can really look at any dream and say, what is this dream telling me about my relationship? Like Vivian's dream was all about men that she was afraid of, or men that disappeared. And we were able to tell just from that, because of what it said about her masculine energy, what would be the case when it comes to her, who she attracts in relationships. So let's put a good dream in. Standing at a bus stop with Holly. So this is Holly Beatrice. She's on our team. She's one of the annoying people who has a husband who, when she shows up, he shows up in her dreams, he's positive. And before deciding that he was the one, she tricked him into doing one of my courses so that I could analyze his dreams, and then she could go, well. So this is one of his dreams. I was standing next to Holly at a nice covered bus stop. We were waiting for the bus to go somewhere. Holly looked especially beautiful. We were outdoors in the nice sunny weather. It's a very short dream. And basically, it just says that this guy wants to go places with Holly. So it's a really good dream. Really, really positive, very simple, nothing negative in it. It's also going to be healing for him because the sun is in the dream. Let's have a look at another short one. Crossing the road. I was walking on the sidewalk with my husband. I realized I had somewhere else to be. I crossed the road diagonally, walking away from him. Anybody any idea what that's about? I'm going to open the chat. Oh, I can see the chat. I will tell you. So she's with her husband at the start, and then she leaves him, walking away from him. This dream is about her separating. And I told her, when she told me this dream, that you're going to separate from your husband. But because she doesn't just walk perpendicularly away, she walks diagonally away, which you don't really do. You don't cross the road diagonally. I said, it's going to be the easiest separation that's ever happened on the planet. And indeed it was. And I think she separated about 5 months or so after. But they just sat down and said, okay, what way do we want to share things? Let's work out how much we make, who makes the most. I will pay you this difference for a year or 18 months. And they shook hands on it, and that was it. And really, really simple. They're still best friends. I know lots of people who didn't go that way, but it's indicated by the diagonally walking across the road. Here's another one. Again, an annoying one from Holly. Holly and I were in a barn. This is Ricardo's again. The scene was like a musical. I was playing a full-size grand piano. This guy can't play piano. And Holly was singing. I don't know if Holly sings. I've never heard her sing. We must have been professionals because we sounded amazing, performing a fast-paced song with giant smiles on our faces. There was no one else in the audience. It was just the two of us having fun. Holly wore a white dress with pink flowers and I wore a light blue suit. So again, another dream, like the bus stop dream, saying that they're going to make beautiful music together. It's just a super positive dream. So when you look at this, or you look at your partner's dream and see this, you can say, this is going to be a good relationship. And it was sickeningly good. Sickeningly good. Holly, or April, you can unmute because I know Holly isn't here. I'm joking, but she had an amazing relationship. They have an amazing relationship. Absolutely. Lovebirds is the way to describe them. So I peppered that in. I just put some dreams in because I know you'd want to hear some dreams. So I said I'd come back to this. I say I help spiritual seekers who are struggling to discover their gifts and life purpose. But before I could do this, I healed my childhood pain with help. Now I'm going to talk about this, and I never do. I've only done it a couple of times. My trauma was that I wasn't wanted. Mom tried to induce an abortion in a very Irish way. She went out and dug a potato patch. How terrible to be. I don't know which is worse, the fact that she tried to do an abortion, or she's Irish and dug a potato patch, and I'm in America saying that. She ended up being rushed to hospital, not allowed to move. I nearly died twice during the time. And then I was born at 7 months and given the last rites. And I was born in Europe's first purpose-built maternity hospital. Ireland had the worst child mortality in the world. And so they're the first place in Europe to build a maternity hospital. And I was born in it the year it opened, I think, which was great because it worked. I spent months in an incubator. But when I was brought home, nobody was allowed to pick me up and hold me because the way my dad viewed it was, I'm the one that nearly killed his wife. But it was the other way around, really. So my traits, I was angry. I mean, really angry. I was vindictive. I put a wall around my heart. And my childish rationale was, if you can't get close to me, you can't reject me. Now, I didn't know that that's what I was doing, but that's really what I did. As an adult, I didn't know what love was. I didn't know how to approach women. Affection from women was completely in my blind spot. It still kind of is, and Sandy laughs her head off about that now. Almost everyone was an idiot. And it's easy to be angry at and reject idiots. So I would pre-label people. I didn't know why any of this was the case. I just knew it was true. And I was helped. My dreams showed everything. I couldn't interpret them at the time, but when I was finally told, I thought it didn't matter because it was all old news. Like, I survived, didn't I? Everything's okay. I got through childhood, but that's not the case. We have to go back and heal the trauma, because if we don't heal the trauma, it controls us for the rest of our life. Do we have time? Do I need to speed up?
You're doing okay.
All right. So I was tricked. I wanted a fun regression. A friend of mine said that he had got a regression and he was back in Mayan times and it was amazing. And he goes, Michael, you were there. And so I phoned up George Radigan, who had done the regression for him. And I said, hey, I want a regression. And George goes, well, I'm not going to regress you unless you agree to do it as part of a therapy. And I'm immediately thinking, he didn't say that to Stuart. But I said, okay, yes, whatever you say, sir. And so I went along for the regression, and I didn't get a fun regression. I went through the therapy that George said I had to do. And it was actually kind of funny. So many things conspired against me that I just threw my hands up in the air and went through with the therapy. And I talk about it in my second book, but I don't do you do U-turns easily, but so much thing hit me in the face at the same time that I had to. So the results, my heart opened. I got onto the dharmic path. I could interpret dreams. I began hearing my guides, and I could feel love. Now, I didn't know I hadn't felt love before, but I could feel it, and it was amazing. So what I do is, yes, I do this, and it was Ann Tucker helped me come up with this phrasing of what I do. But what I really do is I help people heal their childhood trauma to allow them to grow. And you're, depending on what it is, you know, is it to grow, to develop your gifts? Is it to grow, to get into a relationship? Like Holly and Ricardo were so happy because they both did the course and both healed. Well, Holly healed her stuff, got out of a bad relationship, met Ricardo, and then insisted that I would be the official at the wedding. And that was a scary thing for me. But anyway, it's just cool how it works. But I want to leave you with this, so we're nearly done. I'm going to say the same thing in 4 different ways. When you hold on to childhood conditioning, others are attracted to your conditioning. But if you think about that others, in that others is your future partner. So when you hold on to childhood conditioning, your future partner is attracted to your conditioning with their conditioning. They have to be broken to be attracted to someone who's broken. Same thing. When you have childhood trauma, your future partner is attracted to your trauma. When you heal your trauma, your future partner is attracted to your healing. So you attract others who have also healed their trauma. In other words, you attract people who are balanced. Last way to put it, when you embody light by healing your trauma, your future partner is attracted to your light. And that can only be true because they've healed their trauma. Their light matches your light. And that's what you want. You heal yourself and you get to a balanced state, then you will attract a balanced person. There, that's it. How did I do?
Excellent. And you literally, you're like, it's 5:58. So your timing is amazing. There is a couple questions here. We have Diana saying, would you discuss how unresolved issues manifest in the spirit world? So
okay, I'll come back to that. I just want to leave it on one slide. You want to heal your childhood trauma. No matter what you do, it's what you came here to do. And if you don't heal it in this life, you're going to heal it in the next one, or the next one, or the next one, but eventually you will do it. There's no question about that. You will eventually do it. You may as well do it now. And I do realize that this may have brought up questions for some people. If it did, you can book me here for free, dreamanalysis.com/Michael. And I will help you with whatever came up. That's what we do. And then also we do have our October event, and you can get the details about that.
Can you tell us a little bit about the October event? Because I think
so it's going to be like this on steroids, except at a more gentle pace. So it's like lots of stuff like this, but a lot more background, like the relationship stuff we're going to cover, but it's going to be on day 2, maybe even day 3, because there's a lot of stuff you generally want to know before you get to it. So we start off easy, talking about dreams, how you interpret them, what the rules are for interpretation, and how to identify symbols and work with symbols and all that sort of stuff. Then we talk about masculine and feminine energy, which ultimately everything is about masculine and feminine energy. And then we talk about birth and the birth imprint, how that shows up. And we talk about channeling, and we talk about relationships. It's very detailed focus on why you would want to do why you would want to look at your dreams. Basically, your dreams come from your higher self. They are the highest wisdom that you're going to get. They're telling you what you need to do to fix the problems in your life today. They show the source of where your problems come from, and therefore what you need to do to fix your problems, regardless of what area it's in. But we're very specific in this event, where we talk about like we lock it down and take it in an easy way. And we're talking about this time that we might also include the spiritual dimension of dreams in the event as well. But anyway, it's totally free, but the spaces are limited. You do have to put down a deposit, but you get it refunded. Once you show up to any of it, even show up for 5 minutes, the system will record that you showed up, and you'll get the refund automatically. And that's just because we only have a few spaces. And with the nature of the way the internet is, you'll get 1,000 people say they'll come and 200 will show up. This the way to look at this is we're keeping the spaces for the people who really want to come. So what was that question?
So we've got a couple, the October event, that's a 3-day event online, right?
Yes.
And how can people, because people want to know how they can find it or how they can refer people to it. Should they go to your website or where should they go?
So can you see this here, dream-analysis.com/free?
Yeah.
That will get you to the event.
Fantastic. All right. And then, and we've got lots of people are saying very interesting. This is always fascinating to me. We got, here we are. And what are the specific dates for the October event?
Yeah. Can you look that up, April? Type that in. But I think it's October 7th to 9th. So it's the evening of October 7th, and then all day 8th and all day 9th. And Anne, you're going to be talking at it yourself. So
woohoo! I could check on my calendar when it is.
But it's that weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of that weekend. Okay. But that was a good
April,
question.
feel free to unmute and share the dates if you have them, April. Jennifer saying, love this presentation. Thank you. So many questions. Catherine is saying, how can we see the recording? The recording will be, so Wisdom Soup, we have our own YouTube channel, which is if you go onto YouTube and you search Wisdom Soup, it'll be there. So you'll see there's also some past presentations of Michael that are up there as well as all the other or many other presentations we've had over the years. So do we often see partners who dream together or have coordinated dreams?
Yeah. So there was a couple who were doing my course and I thought they were married because I knew them for years. And they were in their 60s. Not that that made a difference, but I just assumed they were married. But basically they had both been in very bad relationships before, very bad marriages before that ended badly. And they thought that getting married would jinx their good relationship. And so they were doing my course and he gave me a dream where he was trying to he was connecting something to a tow hitch on a car. And I channeled, and I always channel on dreams. So it's not just me looking at the dream and saying what it is, but I include what your guides are adding to it. And I said, it's about someone getting married. I thought it was going to be one of his kids or something. I said, this is about somebody getting married. And the dream was really cool. What was interesting was he's putting on the hitch, but then he goes into a restaurant and he goes down into the basement and he has a meal in the basement. And then they come out and the hitch is on and him and his partner go off to Canada. And so I said, whoever's getting married is going to have a really positive life after they get married, because that's what Canada is going to represent. Canada represents feminine energy. Only if you're not from Canada, it represents like really balanced feminine energy. Although maybe it's changing with the way they're doing laws there now. Who knows? But that's generally what it means in dreams, because that's the view people have of the place. Like they have healthcare, they have this, they have all these other things. And then his wife, who's also in the course, gave me a dream where she was attaching something to a tow hitch on a motorbike. So again, I said, oh, this is about someone getting married. But it was the two of them. And they didn't even tell me. But after the course, right after the course, they went off to Vegas and got married in Las Vegas and didn't tell anybody. And that's what they're going into the restaurant and down to the basement. So they didn't do anything public. They hid it, which is what basements are about in dreams. They hid the fact that they were getting married. So they only told people afterwards, which is really funny. But yeah, so you can. Another place where I've seen people have similar dreams, if say dad is ill or somebody has a serious illness, then people in that family can all have very similar dreams, because it's like that becomes a focal point around what they need help with. And the dreams can be so similar, so identical. It's really surprising. Yeah.
Very cool. So there was that question from Diane. Would you discuss how unresolved issues manifest in the spirit world?
Well, it's really unresolved issues. It's all energetic. So it's really about, in the spirit world, your thoughts create your reality, and they create it instantly. So you are around people who are very similar to you. It's like your vibrational level, whatever it is, people around you are going to be at that level. And when you want to get help or want to do things, it can be hard. Guides will come along, they will help you and all that sort of stuff. But it's not like here where we all start off with the same on the same field, playing on the same field at the same density. So it's easier to work on your stuff here. And so we can work on it there. But the problem is our limiting beliefs are so strong. They're so instant that really gets in our way. And the way the physical plane kind of works is it stretches out the creation process. So we get here and our thoughts do create a reality, but there's a delay. There's a long delay between thinking something and it manifesting. And it gives us lots of time to grow, to learn, to do something about it. And it kind of comes in kind of like a pebble being tossed across a pond. It comes in strong certain times, and then we get reprieve, and then it comes strong again. I'm not sure if I'm answering it directly for you or not, but it's a completely different thing. But you can be pretty assured that the reason you picked to work on something here is because you had difficulty working on it in the spirit world. And so when we come here, we also reduce we only take a limited amount of our power, let's say, so that we're not stubborn enough to stop ourselves, or we're not going to use abilities we have to thwart people that are really going to help us ultimately. So we dilute ourselves to a point to where we're not too strong and we're not too weak to take the healing. And if it doesn't work, we'll do it again. We'll come a little bit weaker. But when we come here, though, we plan who's going to help us at every step of our life. So we pick up the issues, and then we will make sure that we have multiple opportunities in our life to heal whatever the issue is, because that's how important that is. And then we also bring gifts. We're not talking about that here, but we also bring gifts with us that are also important to use. So like working on yourself unlocks a lot of things, not just who you attract. And you know what's interesting too, when you do work on yourself, you're still going to be attracted to the same type of person, the exact same type of person that you've always been attracted to. But the person that you get won't have conditioning they haven't worked on. They won't be broken in a way that really wrecks your life. So it's just interesting. Essentially, you get somebody who has gone through their own traumas and healed it. That's always how I see it happen. I was going to say it's almost like magic. It's almost like it's planned is probably a better way to put it.
That is much more apropos, because it's not like it happens like that, is it? Yeah. Takes a little work. Yes. A little work. Thank you, Michael. Phenomenal presentation. Everybody loved it. So many positive comments. So thank you so much for sharing it with us. And don't forget, if you do want to take advantage of his free thing in October, the website is there. I know when Michael, like, you can tell how much he packed into this presentation. I know it'll be super high value.
Did I do the usual thing and fire hose it?
No, I think everybody seems to be right with you. I think everyone followed it beautifully. So again, people are saying, thank you. So cool. Thank you. Very interesting. So good. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So everybody loved it. Yeah. All right, you guys, thanks again for coming and joining us for Wisdom Soup. It was great to have you guys all with us, and I will see you again. We are always on the second Thursday of the month. I do mix the time up because we are speaking to different speakers from different places, and it makes it so different people can come. But so do pay attention to the time each time, but it will always be on the second Thursday of each month. So thanks again.
I see Wendy with a hand up.
Wendy,
Wendy. You can book me if you want.
Wendy, did you want to ask a question? She could put it in the chat. She hasn't put it in the chat. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So book me by going to dream-analysis.com/Michael. And it's only Tuesday and Wednesday. I'll be away. I'll be in Ireland. So I'm traveling tomorrow, so not around. And so you can book me for Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's it. But I've opened up the calendar for that. And then I'm just going to be on vacation, so you won't be able to get me.
Okay. And Linda is asking, I think Linda will book you. And Wendy says, nope, LOL. Okay. All right. All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Michael. Bye, everybody.